Hello, my friends and beautiful divine souls. I've got another musing coming from the depths of my soul. And the thought that came up was this. This message is for my Christian friends and audience or viewership. And this could be a little bit triggering. But the thought that came up, oops, I dropped the phone. The thought that just came to me is, as Christians, had we lived in the time of Jesus, we would have done exactly the same thing the scribes and Pharisees did in accusing and condemning Jesus to die. You might say, why do you say that, Renee? Well, you have to keep in mind that when Jesus came in his day, he completely opposed the religion of the day, and he taught against it. It was completely new. It was completely blasphemous, because what Jesus came to teach was about your divinity, and his own divinity. He came on the scene declaring that he was one with God. Now, and the Pharisees didn't do anything wrong in declaring him a crazy man that made himself equal with God. You see, Christ consciousness is here now, and many of us are having the same epiphany, the same inspiration, the same Christedness that Jesus received in his day. And Christians today oppose this consciousness in the same way the Pharisees did in Jesus' day. So you're just doing the same thing the Pharisees did back then by in your unconscious self, in your unconscious mind, you think a person declaring it's themselves equal with God is lunatic, is crazy. What you have to keep in mind is the Pharisees weren't quite the same as Christians are today, but as Christians, you have been indoctrinated and cultured into the Christian religion that includes Jesus. And so that's what makes you think today that you wouldn't have put Jesus on the cross. You wouldn't have forsaken and betrayed Jesus. Because you are today embracing a religion that includes Jesus. But you have to remember, in that day, no religion existed that was including or speaking of any Jesus or Messiah. So you can't look through the Christian lens and think, well, you are faithful. You are a faithful follower of Jesus. And because of that, you think you would never have done what the Pharisees did, what you do. Because now, when I speak the same message of Jesus, declaring that you and I are one with the Father, declaring equality with God. You think the same thing. You think I'm nuts. Because you are filtering, you're hearing this message through the Christian filter. And you've already got your idol, your idol that you call God. You've made Jesus into an idol exclusively. And so anyone else that comes around now and declares themselves equal with God, one with God, you at least in your mind, in your judgment, you're doing the same thing that the Pharisees and scribes did to Jesus. You're not actually following Jesus, because if you were, you would avail yourself of this Christ consciousness as well. You would be like him. You would share and testify of the same message through your own life. And it's the message of the divinity of every human being. But not only that, it's also the divinity of every other manifested creation. You see, we got it wrong. We got it wrong by pinning a human image on God, precisely the image of Jesus. And because we did that, we cannot see God in every other creation. And our mind is eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, the tree of judgment. We judge, we crino, we criticize, we discern good from evil, we discern human from God, we discern dog from God. But God is energy, and the same energy, the same God is in every materialized created thing that is manifesting in this dimension. And because of the era of this idolatry around Jesus, Christians cannot embrace oneness. Christians do not unify with those they disagree with. And so, because of the disagreement, the enmity remains in the earth. If you want to see peace on earth, you're going to have to be the one creating it. By dropping your judgment, by dropping your condemnation of the people that have realized their Christ consciousness, that have realized their I and the Father am one, are one. So no, Christians today, you are doing exactly the same as the religious leaders and people of Jesus' day. But there's many voices now that speak the message and truth that Jesus brought. And I hope that in time your awareness will open up and you can see it even within yourself and start being the message, start being the truth, the way, and the life, just as Jesus was.